Good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest this afternoon is Lisa McManus, the wellness coach, and Lisa and I are going to chat this afternoon about nutrition and the role that it plays in your overall health and wellbeing. Very often when we talk about nutrition, we're looking at weight loss, controlling diet and those various different elements that are all controlled with basically losing weight, are all related to losing weight. But Lisa and I are hopefully going to shed a broader perspective on that this afternoon, and we'll be touching on Lisa's own experience with rheumatoid arthritis. Lisa.
Yep.
Just a reminder, viewers, at the start of the show that obviously it's important if they have any concerns about their own health and well-being that they check in with their GP as a first step, and obviously follow advice before undertaking any major dietary or lifestyle exercise changes, particularly if it's something that you're not used to, that you always run those by your GP. But you're very welcome to Destination
Thank you very
Wellbeing,
much for having me, Joanne. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. And as I said, it's your own, we'll open up and start the conversation with your own area of interest and how you get interested in nutrition, because often people, I know even in my own self, whenever I'm talking about health and wellness, people will say, you're very young to have already been engaged in this type of work. But a lot of that comes from personal experience. And
well, it does. I was 14, so that was quite young whenever I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. But I think I was quite lucky too, because it was either leukemia or rheumatoid arthritis. So from being a normal, happy, healthy 14-year-old, whisked into hospital overnight, pretty much at Christmas time. The whole world was turned upside down. You know, the medical profession does have a place, you know, for chronic long-term disease, for acute disease. You know, it does have its place.
And from a diagnostic role,
it's fantastic.
The only route that we have.
I can't knock it at all. But they pumped me full of medication for years and years and years, until I guess I sort of learnt my own body better and decided I'm going to sort of explore nutrition, study nutrition, and see is there an alternative. In my opinion now, alternative medicine is medicine. It's not the alternative, which I'm sure is your opinion as well.
As I said, I'll try the alternative being the name of
being your name.
the name that I chose. But it was the heal in the middle of the try the alternative that appealed to me, and then also that it was the alternative to the lifestyle that we have and to the options that we've been given. It's the alternative to stress. It's the alternative to ill health. It's the alternative to steroids, to bloating, to all of the things that come with that. And often we don't realise that there is an alternative to all of that. So it's not, it was sort of a reverse way, certainly for myself, because I'm totally with you. It is now, it's not the alternative route, it's the only way.
It's the only way. So at 14, I was not well. I got into nutrition, started studying nutrition, and through good diet, changing my lifestyle, which didn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen overnight. I've managed to come off some really, really serious medication. I'm still in the process of coming off other medication, and like you said, steroids. Every joint has been pumped full of it. I've experienced the emotional, the mental, the physical, every side effect. And I went down this path because I want other people to realise it's not just about putting a band-aid over a broken leg. It's not just about, well, okay, you've got arthritis, let's dampen down the immune system, let's dampen down the symptoms, let's heal you from inside out.
And that's an area that obviously I would be very passionate about myself, that and the diet and the nutrition plays a huge part in that. There's also the emotional healing of the cells and things that and we've had loads of different guests on that will talk about cellular healing and how emotions can affect our physical well-being, whether that's from an ancestral perspective, right the whole way through to experiences that we've had ourselves at different ages and different things. And it's interesting that you should say that this was at 14, because a lot of chronic health conditions, asthma, eczema, childhood, ones that we're familiar with in childhood, we've got a 7-year cycle in our body. So a lot of the time you'll discover that they'll either appear or change
around the 7 years,
in a 7-year type pattern and cycle. So that's an interesting, another interesting angle on that.
Actually it is.
And the hope is that our chemical makeup changes, or the belief scientists are starting to show that our actual body's chemical makeup changes every 7 years. So,
good to know.
I
didn't know that.
Worth coming in just to learn that. But But as you said, the nutrition, we are what we eat, and what's going into the body is so important as an overall package of health and well-being.
The problem nowadays isn't what we're eating, it's what we're not eating.
Yeah.
That's really the problem. Yeah, it's what's not going in. You know, your body needs nutrients, vitamins, minerals to survive for good health, and we're not giving our bodies what we need.
Yeah. And we're looking a lot, you know, there was, and I suppose the challenge, and we've chatted about this before, is that health advice so often changes. And certainly nutrition advice can change. One day doctors or scientists are saying this bit, and another day they're saying that. But
it can be individualized too, though. I mean, different people may need different things.
And that's what I think is the important. It's about knowing your body, as you said. It's about recognizing, because we're not all the same.
No.
And if we were all the same, we'd all be robots, and we'd just
be no fun.
Be no fun in life. Yeah. So it's recognizing what works for your body. I know myself, I discovered probably around about 1920 that actually I was intolerant to apples.
Wow. How did you discover that?
Discovered it through having, actually Mummy was away on holidays and came home and said to me, "Have you lost weight?" And I went,
"I've been living on apples."
No, I would have eaten an awful lot of apples, but I was staying with cousins who had very little fruit in the house.
Right.
And in this period, this week, although my diet became relatively not as healthy as what it would have been, I would have really been a big apple fanatic, and loved apples. What could have eaten, as I say, the lesson is also that everything in moderation, and too much of anything's bad for you. I could have eaten 2 or 3 apples a day, without kind of thinking about it. Would have had them instead of sweets or crisps.
Yeah, thinking you were being healthy.
Thinking, well, and just because I enjoyed them. But over this, it must have been a 10-day period, it was a wee bit longer than a week. I've been staying with cousins, and really I knew my diet wasn't healthy, but I had appeared to have lost weight. Now I hadn't actually lost weight, but I'd lost a bloatedness in my face. And when I went through and had an intolerance test, then it showed up that actually apples, and some of the other, apples was one of the main ones. But so whereas, as you say, it's so specific, because what works for one person isn't necessarily what's going to work for another.
If I started saying what I don't eat and things that I do eat, you'd probably think I was a little bit crazy, but that works for me, and that's what's got me off methotrexate, which is the chemotherapy drug.
That you don't certainly want to be on.
I was on that for years and years and years. The doctors actually said to me, "Now give yourself a 3-month sort of buffer period, because after that drug will have left your system, and you can expect everything to flare up, because arthritis is it flares up."
It's an inflammatory condition.
3 months later, I was like, "I'm fine." No, I would give it 6 months. I can't stay in your body quite a long time. Give it 6 months. 6 months later, still fine. A year and a half later, still fine. And that's from good food.
Yeah, it's good nutrition and balancing out. Would you work on the principle of sort of balancing the alkalinity of the body? And
yes, my body's acidic. I know it is. I have an inflammatory disease. There's pain when there's acid. Also, I'm stressed, because stress. There's the whole gut health. Your gut feeling and everything, and your brain is linked to your digestive system, which is linked to everything else. So if I'm stressed, I get sore. So stress management is another huge part of my life. But yes, I follow an alkaline diet. I'm also embarking on a vegan diet with fish, which seems to be suiting me very, very well. Now, some people think I'm completely crackers. For breakfast, I had avocado, cucumber, pear, and walnuts.
Okay, so I had walnuts and cranberries and oats.
Yeah.
Does that go? Yeah. And it is balancing it out. And I've been, I suppose, controversially said to groups that I've been running at different times, you can't eat what you want.
Yeah.
You can. And people will go, "No, you can't." I say, "No, you can eat anything you want." It's changing what you want. It's respecting your body enough that you only want what's good for it.
Your body will tell you what it needs.
Your body will know exactly what it needs.
My body is unbelievable at telling me what it needs or what it doesn't need. If I've overdone it, if I've taken on too much work, or if I've had too many late nights or getting up too early or overdoing the exercise, whatever, my body will scream at me. I will be in pain. I will be exhausted. I will be not fit for any purpose whatsoever. And
and everybody's body's the same. It's just that, as you say, we sometimes, I think we've lost, because there's so many chemicals and so many things that we're exposed to, we've lost that gut connection, that gut feel, that connection to the brain in our stomach that's going, this is what you need to do.
And you're faking your energy with too much caffeine and sugar and junk food, just propping yourself up all day long. Remove that. your energy is going to take a bit of a dip. You need to give it what it needs.
Yeah, you need, and the right nutrients coming in the right forms. And you mentioned obviously the lifestyle balance, the stress management. I know yoga plays a big part as well.
Yoga is huge in my life. I try and do yoga 2 to 3 times a week at least. It stretches everything out as well. I mean, we sort of sit all day, or we drive all day. A lot of people get up in the morning, they sit in the car, they go to work, they sit at the desk all day, they get home, they sit in front of the TV all evening. You know, things aren't moving. Your lymphatic system is where the toxins are moving around. They're not drinking enough water. You know, they're not moving. Your body was designed to move. Yoga I find fantastic also for the mental side as well.
Yeah, for keeping, and that's, you know, where we are. I'd like to say that there's sort of 3 elements to us. There's the mind, the body and the spirit side of us, and we need to balance all 3. The nutrition bit will help the mind, the body and the spirit, but the yoga will help the mind. You know, they're all, there's nothing, it's this holistic idea of treating the body not as separate parts, as you say. You know, it's not an ankle and it's not a leg, it's part of your body. It's like, you know, there's no car if it's just all parts of a car. Together. They all have to come together in our bodies. Often, I think, whenever we look at them as separate, then we treat them separately, whereas we look at them as a whole and we treat them whole. I
mean, if I ate really good food all the time but was constantly sleep deprived and didn't exercise and was stressed, my arthritis is not going to get better. You know, so I know my limits.
Yeah, and I think it's for all of us when we embark on, particularly when there's a chronic health complaint, that I think the idea, or certainly the message that I would love to get across to people is today, is that there is an alternative. You don't need to suffer through what you're suffering. There are things, maybe not overnight cures or anything like that, and they're not overnight cures, but whether that's a child with ADHD, an adult with arthritis, there's certain triggers and certain foods that you'll take into your body that will worsen those symptoms. And if we can eliminate those and give the body what it does need, as you say, it's not, well, I suppose there's a part of it is it's what we aren't eating is as important as what we are eating. It's missing out on some pretty substantial food groups, really. I know last week there was the report that came in on, you know, sort of the too much protein can be as big a problem. But again, it's about balance, and it's about getting
they can find a report about anything and sort of prove anything that they want to.
Yeah, statistics can tell us what
they want
to tell us, really. But it's looking and making sure that your body's getting in. And I don't know about yourself, Lisa, but I would be of the belief that even eating seasonally is a big way of eating good food more affordably. But also making sure you're getting the right nutrients in at the right time of year for what your body needs. And I know the Paleo diet is a big area of passion for you.
It has been, yes. I've sort of taken a little bit of a break from it for a while just to concentrate on other things, but for a year now I did paleo. Tomato,
depends on how you pronounce it. Tomato.
I did that with Crossfit and Uri. They did a monthly boot camp, and I was the nutritionist there every month and embarked people on the paleo lifestyle. The reason I loved it, I'm not into fad diets, I don't believe in diets, it's a lifestyle. And paleo and CrossFit are a lifestyle, as is yoga. The reason I liked it was because it's changing people's mindsets. Right, you can't have bread, you can't have sugar, you can't have processed foods, and half people sitting there go, what am I going to eat? So that's what I liked about it.
That's an impact, isn't it?
So okay, I used to have pasta and sauce for lunch. I can't have that. What am I going to have? I can't have bread. What am I going to have? Guess what? You're going to have to eat fruit and veg. What else
you're going to have to broaden your horizons, and
that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, that's and it's for those who maybe aren't familiar with it. Do you want to explain a little bit more about?
The paleo is a lifestyle. It's not a new thing. It's back to the way our ancestors used to eat.
It's a cave. It's known
called
as
the caveman diet, right? But
thing,
I don't eat red meat, and I did it as a fish eater. So you don't have to be sitting with Fred Flintstone with a big bone.
But I think as well, you know, we have this image that cavemen did, but that was a fairly rare occurrence because they wouldn't have killed every day. Often. You know, there wouldn't have been an access to meat. There was fish quite readily available, and there was the grains and there was the vegetables and that side of it. But as I say, we have this image that they all ate.
It was
meat, but they had to go and kill it themselves.
Exactly.
And I don't imagine anybody was that lucky every day. Whereas the animals were pretty slow. They didn't quite cop on because, you know, they weren't intensively rare in the format that we are
True.
now. So
it would have been,
there's a deer or whatever, and we'll go and get it. But it was it was more of an off chance than anything else.
So paleo was based around lots of seasonal fruit, veg, nuts, your good fats. Everybody's afraid of fat. We can come back to that in a moment if you want. Everybody's afraid of fat. Your good fats and your lean meats, fish and proteins, the poultries and turkey and that sort of thing. I had a point, I can't remember what it was. Anyway.
It'll come back. But yes, fat, as we said, people are afraid of taking fat into our bodies, but we need it.
We need fat. Yeah. And what, in the 1980s, the low-fat sort of craze began, and now all of a sudden, 30 years later, we're all fat.
Yeah, we're fatter than, people are more overweight. And when we look at the fat-soluble vitamins, a lot of the conversation I'll have around this would be the low-fat milk versus the full-fat milk type thing. And, we're removing, we might be taking the calcium in. Yeah. The calcium levels might stay the same, but the calcium levels stay the same, but if you don't have the vitamin D to absorb the calcium,
you're removing all the goodness.
You're removing all that goodness. So, or you're not allowing yourself access to the goodness. So,
but when you talk about vitamin D as well, get outside.
Yeah.
I really think people don't get outside enough.
No, we need to get out and enjoy. I mean, we're very lucky this week that the weather yesterday and today has been fabulous.
Yeah.
And deliberately, I'm sort of trying to allow more light onto my skin rather than being covered up with it. So,
but people need to remember as well the calcium thing. A bit controversial, but the dairy thing, I'll not go into it too much. But calcium is out there in other sources. I mean, cavemen survived and didn't drink milk, didn't know to drink milk or eat yogurt or Actimels or whatever they are. Kale, all your dark green leafy veg, they have.
Yeah, they're packed full.
Copious amounts of calcium.
Your green veg, huge amounts, and easily absorbed and easily accessible in there as well. So, as you say, it's getting it to work and to suit for what people do. But and you mentioned also CrossFit. Part of your lifestyle.
CrossFit is fantastic, and it's also fantastic for your bones as well when we talk about calcium and vitamin D, because without the impact, without the stress on your bones, you're not going to build new bone.
Yes.
So it's really, really important. And CrossFit, yes, you can go walking and it's great for your mind, and yoga is fantastic, and I love all of these things, but to build muscle, to build strength, to strengthen your bones, something an impact sport such as CrossFit is unreal. It's fantastic.
You're finding it, you're really thoroughly enjoying it.
But for sorry, I've touched my microphone. For someone who never thought they could do it. Yeah. I'm an awful person for, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to do it. I will find a way. I never thought I could do CrossFit. I can do it. I have rheumatoid arthritis, the 17 years, a severe form of it, and I can do CrossFit. Anyone sitting out there watching this on the internet thinking, I couldn't do that, try it. Yeah. Just try it. As well for the kids, CrossFit have 2 kids programs. They have a teen program, because I know teens can sometimes be low in self-confidence, and so they've got a really, really good program to get them active and build the self-confidence. And then for the wee teeny tiny ones as well. Yeah, for all. And that's the beauty of exercise and diet lifestyle. It is a lifestyle, and it starts from, it's about educating young children, because you don't want them having, I was listening to a report there a few weeks ago, and I've mentioned it a few times here, but that any of us, even in our 30s and 40s now, are likely to still be living in some shape or form into our hundreds. Oh, wow.
Now, how fit we are, how healthy we are, isn't really the question. It wasn't really the part of the survey, but it was that we will most likely be either kept alive or alive in some form. And my sort of personal journey is to make sure that if I'm here when I'm 100, that I'm here as healthy and as fit as I can be.
Yes.
And I think we owe that to children, to educate them with those same principles, that it's what happens now, because it's now when their bones are being built and they're building the basis for what they're doing.
But as well, you can preach to your kids all day long, but they need to see you eating the broccoli and the strawberries and the apples and getting out and exercising. Yeah. And that's one of the beautiful things about the CrossFit program, for example. The parents do the class, the kids do the class. Yeah, so they see mummy doing a push-up or a box jump or a burpee or whatever she's doing. And they're like, I want to be like that, instead of I want to be sitting watching TV at home. Yeah, that's normal.
Yeah, it's motivating children by example. They learn by example. Our children learn what they live is the key. I suppose it's the poem that's familiar in all walks of children's lives, and when we start thinking about children. But I know that you also work with the college. I'm going to get you to go with the name on this one.
The College of Naturopathic Medicine. Yes. They're a UK-based college, and they run some fantastic programs. They're based in Dublin, Belfast, Cork, Edinburgh, London, Manchester, Bristol. There's loads of colleges. Basically, their principle is alternative is mainstream. Alternative is the only way. Yeah. But they also want to have, for every doctor that comes out of university, they want to have a nutritionist, a naturopath, a nutritional therapist, a herbalist, an alternative for people to sort of have that choice. There's a number of open evenings happening. I think the next one's the 3rd of April. If you go on Facebook, Belfast College of Naturopathic Medicine, we're on Facebook. There's also a herbalism course, free open evening actually in May, which is about spring cleaning and detoxing your system, which is free, and it's here in Uri. Okay, brilliant.
Well, we'll have you in hopefully closer to the time, and you can give us a wee bit more information on that. But I suppose, as we said, the key message to get out there or to make people aware of is that there are options, and food plays such a huge part in that. And I know we'll have your website up on the on the ticker bar at the bottom of the screen as people are watching in. But I know you do loads through Facebook, and you're
pretty active with Facebook. This is my passion. I don't do this. I didn't come into this, as I said to Joanne, to make money. Obviously, it helps. You got to have a little bit of money to live. I want people to realise the power of what they're eating and the power of nutrition, basically.
And the thing is, do what you love, and you'll never work another day in your life. So it's very important that when you've had your own personal experience of the implication that this can have, and the positive effects that it can have on you, then of course, you're going to be the best person to.
I'm not just talking the talk. I'm walking the walk.
Yeah, you've experienced the benefits. So, like, no matter what area in life we look at, whether that's somebody who's counselling, whether it's a reflexologist, whatever, it's once you've experienced the benefits yourself, that's when your own advocate, you can advocate, and you can do it with passion, and then you see the results in other people, and it's fantastic. It must be amazing.
I had one guy, I also run just quickly a 6 weeks to Wellbeing program, where it's an alternative. It's not counting calories and low fat. It's completely changing your mindset to eating for health. So every time you look at a meal, you're thinking, balanced meal, I need to get my 8-9 portions of fruit and veg a day. Let's get them into me somehow at every single meal. And I had one guy who was, he was quite a heavy guy. I don't get a lot of men, so it was fantastic to have him. His diet was atrocious beforehand, and he's a complete reformed character. He's just the apple of my eye. Sorry, again, microphone. He went to see his doctor a few weeks back, and the doctor said it has been the best blood results in 12 years.
Fantastic.
Now, I just smiled. I read that and just went, I was just beaming.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's fantastic to be able to be in a position to being part of making positive, because ultimately the individual has to do it themselves. Yeah. And no, it doesn't matter how often they come to you or whatever, it's what they do once they go out the door. But being able to be that guiding light and that support and that source of information is fantastic.
It just kind of spurs you on to keep you going.
Keeps you going to the next person, and you're inspiring more and more people all the time. And without ambassadors like yourself, we stay stuck. We have to be able to step out of the norm, because, as you say, so much. I know we said we'd talk about the broader horizon and the broader picture and how nutrition can affect health overall, but particularly when it comes to weight loss, so much of it is restrictive. So many of the programs people are familiar with is, I'm on a diet for this period of time, or I'm counting, I have to watch this, I have to watch that. And you're talking there even 8 and 9 portions of fruit and veg. Ask the average person, and we're all got this figure of 5 in our heads, but that's not helping our health.
And not only that, people aren't even hitting 5. At least if we said at 9, they might hit 5.
Yeah, that's it. It's sort of reach for the star, and you might get the movie somewhere in and around. But if we think it's, well, sure, 4's only one less than 5, so that'll be fine. And
why not use every meal as an opportunity? Why not grab health while you can? Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, it's such a, and even the colours. I mean, what fascinates me about eating good food that I enjoy, is the colours and the array of the just even the flavours and the tastes and everything that can come. Whereas when we look at a lot of processed food and a lot of junk food, it's all that kind of colour brown. And I'm saying junk food, and I was reading a quote the other day. It said, "There's no such thing as junk food. There's junk, and then there's food." I thought it was Brilliant. The two can't become together. So I thought that was, so maybe bear that one in mind. There is no junk food. It's just junk or food. But
people think that healthy food's bland and tasteless.
But the flavours are amazing.
And there's people in, like some of my wee groups, I have a Facebook group as well for the 6 weeks to Wellbeing group, and they'll be writing, Lisa, am I allowed X, Y, and Z? I says, yes, you are. Okay, good, because I just couldn't get over how tasty it was and how nice it was.
And one of the reasons why often that we don't is maybe that we're not using herbs and things like that to their
We're just
full
thinking,
potential.
let's have a tuna salad with no dressing.
Yeah, that's not going to taste very well. And also, again, because so much processed food is jam-packed with sugar and salt, or artificial flavourings, which are probably worse than artificial colourings and all the rest of it that are in there. But when we look at removing the sugar and the salt, but food in its proper natural capacity is...
But our taste buds...
It take a while to adjust. And when we start to feed them and use them properly, then they start singing at us, and you're tasting everything so much better. I noticed last night you had put up your tea last night. I saw that on Facebook. But things like bok choy, beans, all of those.
Garlic sauce, nuts. I get them all in there.
Fabulous flavours and lovely tastes. And even if we look at any, and we're quite lucky in the local area that we've quite a lot of good deli counters and things like that. But often I think it's, when you go in, you look at the deli counter in some of the supermarkets and things like that, and you look at the colours on one side where you've got the pastry and you've got all
food.
that, and on the other side you've got the salad bar counter, and it's just, it's full, it's
and
rainbows, you can see the vitality, you can see the health, you can see the well-being.
That's what I like as well about, you said don't calorie count, and some diets out there you have to watch what you're eating and you have to count in the morning on this diet for a month. There's a good example. If, for example, you change your whole lifestyle and you decide to eat really healthily, you're not counting calories, you're not counting fat, you're not counting anything except good, healthy food, and you've got a wedding, say, in June time. If you go to that wedding, no one's going to say, how much do you weigh, how much have you lost? If you do it right, they'll look at you and go, oh my goodness, you're oozing positivity, vitality, energy, you look fantastic, you're radiating health. Yeah. That's what I would rather be complimented with, as opposed to...
It's the bright eyes, it's the good skin.
I want to be like her, I want to be that person, as opposed to, oh, you're size 6, but you look like, not
you
very
don't
healthy.
Look very well, and your skin's dull and grey and all of the things.
And your mood as well, you need the fats for your mood and
for keeping everything, keeping the mind. And we're increasingly now, we're becoming more and more aware of that mind-body connection and how what we're eating relates to how we're feeling, and even particularly for women around the time of the month and menstrual cycle and things like that, it's so important that they're getting the right nutrients in, because again, that's another thing where I look and go, it really shouldn't be a horrible time.
It shouldn't be causing
you. Yeah, it really shouldn't. For a week.
Get your hormones balanced through good food,
good nutrition, and or balancing your stress levels and getting in tune with your body, because we've almost accepted that that's just a way of life. And it should really, that's a sign that you're talking about your body communicating with you. It's another communication from your body going, hey, guess what? There's something not right here.
But people think it's going to be impossible. Oh, I have to balance my hormones. How do I do that? Just eat good food. You don't have to start coming up with fancy diet plans, and just cut out the junk. And eat the good stuff.
Eat the good food, support your body, and manage stress. And
have your body working for you instead of against you.
And you working for your body as well. So it's really the whole connection. Lisa, thanks a million for your time coming in and for sharing your own story. As I said, it's fantastic to have people in who have come the other side and who are working, and good luck with it. But as you say, it's work in progress. Rome was never built in a day, and had you have made the option or made the decision to, overnight take out everything that was in all your medication, take everything out, you would have crashed as well. So the gradual process.
I'd rather anyone go slow in the right direction than quit.
Yes, well, that's it, and or rush things and
Quit.
quit. Yeah, the whole, it's slowly getting there. And as I said, if you want to get in touch with Lisa, our details are there, and it's definitely worth checking in and following her on Facebook. Because
Instagram and Twitter too. I'm a
social media holic. Yeah, but it's a fantastic way of getting inspiring people, and not just. I mean, I know you take clients from all over the world through Skype, and
if there's not, well, I do. I've got clients in Spain and America and Australia through Skype. As long as there's nothing too wrong, that I obviously prefer to see them in person then.
Yeah, but if it's so anybody that's watching, because I know some of our following comes from sort of quite a global following, certainly Lisa can be contacted, and even as a source of information, maybe to point you in the right direction. So thank you to all our viewers for watching in this afternoon. I'll be in with Rowan on Thursday morning, and that's Rowan's morning show that goes out from Newry each and every morning from 7:30 till 10:30, and we'll be chatting a little bit more about what's coming up on future shows. But thanks for your time, Lisa.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching in.
Thank you.
Thank you.